it's interesting how it continues to swirl around, and they keep trying to find the right propaganda vector for this. It's about saving Mother Earth. No, it's about reparations and justice, climate justice. That's the phrase that'll pay, right, guys? Anything in order to sell an agenda to you. And what is the agenda about? We do not have to parse very far to find out about that. Again, if you read the report, you'll find our old friend Debt for Nature swaps making an appearance in here, as well as climate debt for climate swaps being name-checked in this report, because, again, it is about monopolizing the resources of the Earth, and, we'll forgive some of this debt that we created out of thin air to give to you in the first place, if you give us the actual Earth. So for people who don't know about that Debt for Nature scheme and how it fits into this whole agenda, they might want to check episode 322 of the Corbett Report on what is sustainable development. But here is what this is really about. And again, we do not have to go on a speculative limb about this. Back in 2015, the then head of the UNFCCC, Cristina Figueres, said, "This is probably the most difficult task we have ever given ourselves, which is to intentionally transform the economic development model for the first time in human history." I wonder what she's talking about. What could that mean? Or how about in 2019, when the chief of staff for AOC said, "The interesting thing about the Green New Deal is it wasn't originally a climate thing at all." Do you guys think of it as a climate thing? Because we really think of it as a how do you change the entire economy thing. Direct quote, guys. Or how about this one, the kind of humorous tongue-in-cheek spin on it from Mark Morano's Climate Depot, but their recent headline, "Greta finally gets it." Greta Thunberg, UN Climate Summit COP27 is a scam that provides an opportunity for people in power to use greenwashing, lying, and cheating. Ding, ding, ding. Yeah, you thought this was about saving Mother Earth? No. This is a scam. It is a debt-based scam to monopolize the resources of the Earth and to get everyone involved and to regulate everyone's behavior on top of it. So if people want to know about the big scheme of the GFANZ and all these multi-trillion-dollar deals that are being cut on the international stage, I will direct them back to my conversation with Whitney Webb last year about how green finance is monopolizing the planet. I did an editorial, Welcome to the New Economy, talking about this. I've talked about the second most important bank you've never heard of, talking about the 1980s plan for constructing some sort of world climate bank, essentially, that was being forwarded by the Rothschilds and Rockefellers, literally, at the UNCED conference, UNCED, back in 1987. All of this is just pieces on this trail, but maybe it sounds overwhelming. It sounds like, these big governments are cutting these big deals and doing this high finance stuff, and whatever. How does this affect me, Joe Blow, in my regular 9-to-5 job? Oh, don't worry. It's coming for you. It is all about you, actually, and controlling what you do. If only they could, nudge you into doing this or that thing, and controlling your behavior on the back of this scam. I wonder if we'll have any stories about that in this edition of New World next week, James.
Nah, who's to say? It's not like we're good at forecasting what might be coming down the pike. So it went from you've died of dysentery to you've died of suddenly to, of course, you've died of climate change. They also, of course, highly recommend throwing soup at Van Gogh paintings to save Mother Earth as well. Our second story on this New World Next Week, episode 501. Oh my God, it's come true. UK Nudge Unit, which would be kind of a cool, like a DJ, kind of maybe Miami bass kind of sound. UK, gotta laugh to not cry. UK Nudge Unit recommends banks track carbon footprint of transactions and reward sustainable behavior, an influential UK-based social purpose organization that was blamed for the UK government's use of grossly unethical tactics to scare the public into COVID compliance. They're back for more, recommending that banks use the wealth of data that they hold to provide carbon feedback on transactions and introduce social credit-style rewards and incentives to encourage so-called sustainable behaviors. The measures are being pushed by the Behavioral Insights Team, aka the Nudge Unit, which specializes in using behavioral insights to nudge people into changing their behavior. In a recent blog post, which we do have linked up for you, the Nudge Unit revealed that it had partnered with carbon footprint management company Cogo, C-O-G-O, to explore how banks should go about nudging their customers to go green. Kogo has already partnered with several banks, including the UK's NatWest Bank, which uses Kogo services to provide a personalized real-time carbon footprint tracker in its mobile app.
So central banks are also starting to understand nature has real value. Carbon, we already figured out. And carbon is moving very quickly into a system where it's going to be very close to a currency. Basically being able to take a ton of absorbed or sequestered carbon and being able to create a forward pricing curve with financial service architecture, documentation. I just came out of a meeting this morning how we're trying to accelerate that. To be quite honest, not to get very boring, but we're on financial topics and things, but they're going to be derivatives. And you need ISDA documentation if you want to trade a derivative in the marketplace. And all of this actually matters for nature as well. I'm going to quickly hand off, but again, I want to talk about value one more time, because the southern part of the world has value far greater than large elements of the northern part. And we start thinking about and putting prices on water, on trees, on biodiversity, we find where does that sit? I'm doing a lot of work out of Asia, and I say that my next door neighbor, Indonesia, is the left lung of the world, and obviously Brazil's the right, and Africa, absolutely critical. And we need their natural capital as a system-based world more than we need that 66 billion we've got sitting in the basement of the Bank of England. So how do we, and I'm hoping this discussion today, at least from a central banker's point of view, on how do we start tokenizing, how do we start building systems that actually create not only the value but transfer that value around the world.